Hello, welcome back to the Ping Pong Playbook. I'm Graham, and today we're going to be kicking off a new playlist, and it's going to be all about racket care. So how do we take care of our racket? Occasionally we'll need cleaning because it'll get dusty, and then depending on the amount of time you spend playing, how often you play, the rubbers will need replacing, which will affect things like your service and your shots. So let's get stuck in. So let's cover cleaning. So equipment that we will need some table tennis rubber cleaner. Please don't ask me where I got this from. It's possibly 20 years old, and you can see it does last a long time. Like I say, I've had this for 20 years. Although I don't clean my rubber every day after playing, I do clean it quite often. So I think they call it in Germany Beilackreiniger. Excuse my German accent. So you'll need some of this. I'd recommend using this rather than just some soapy water or water. Just get the right stuff. Rubbers are so expensive these days that it's beneficial to have the right things. It's just false economy to try and make your own. And then the next thing you'll need is some type of rubber sponge type cleaner. This one's again a butterfly make, fairly easy, fairly cheap to get hold of, and it has a sort of very spongy soft side and then a firmer side. I believe the firmer side is to help you dry off the rubber. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to clean this. I'm going to clean these rubbers on this bat today. They really do need replacing, and I will be covering that also in this video. I'm not sure if you can quite see that, but it's not as tacky as it could be. So it's actually got like a dull surface to it. So yeah, so let's get to cleaning. So we'll take some of our rubber cleaner and we'll squirt some on, and then with the rubber sponge we're literally going to use the pink side and we're going to work that in, and just like you'd expect with rubber, it's going to squeak. So nice round motions. Sounds like a sort of flock of seagulls, doesn't it? So once that's done, take the other side of it, and then I'm sorry if it sounds like nails on a chalkboard, but this is how we do it. So, and that's that, and then literally let it dry, and that should be good then for your match. I would suggest obviously cleaning your rubbers before every match. Give yourself the best opportunity to win. I don't know in certain sort of international type matches, although certainly they probably have new rubbers for international matches, but even let's say if it was the final of a Grand Prix, I don't know how they would feel about you trying to clean your racket. It's one of those things that at the end of each game, or set rather, they will have you leave your racket on the table, and I'm guessing that's so it can't be either changed or interfered with. So I would recommend definitely cleaning your racket before every game. Say, give yourself the best opportunity to be able to keep those serves tight and your shots strong, with the maximum amount of spin. It's something that even the best people forget to do. I myself, again, I often forget to do it, and you might find that those games that are tight that you lose, this could have made that difference. Well, those last couple of points, and you'll start to win those games. So try and remember that. So, replacing our rubbers. What's the equipment we need? So, well, first of all, we'll obviously need our old bat or old blade with our old rubbers. And then in addition to that, we will need our 2 replacement rubbers. Now, I like to play with butterfly rubbers. I like to play with Resina on my forehand, which is black, 1.9 millimeters. I also then like to play with Tenergy 64 red, which again is 1.9 millimeters. Maybe I should make a video about different rubbers, and I'm sure I will do, and what the differences of thicknesses mean. But for me, 1.9 gives me the sort of a reasonable level of control and speed for my game. I do find anything thicker I find difficult to control, but again, it's an evolution of process. So as the better you get, the different types of control and speed you may wish to change. So we've got our old blade, our old rubbers, and our new rubbers. A cutting board, something where you're not going to cut. This is only a cheap table, but I don't want to hear any horror stories about anybody marking their parents or the sort of 150-year-old mahogany or teak table. So make sure that you have something such as this just to protect the surface. So I do just wish this would lie flat. That's my only beef with IKEA. Anyway, so going on to what other equipment we need, and depending on your age, I have to say this, get an adult, someone who's very comfortable using a bladed item. Must stress that. So as I'm old enough and I'm sensible enough, here is the equipment which I carry to be able to do a rubber replacement. So I have some glue. This is, believe it or not, this is butterfly chack. It's just in a different bottle because I ordered the large container which just has an open top lid and no way of actually getting the glue out and onto a surface. So I bought these rather cheap little bottles to contain, I think it's about 90 to 100 ml in there. So glue, a blade, and as I've said, be extremely careful how you use one of these. If you don't respect these things, they will not discriminate, they will cut you down to the bone. So please, if you're a child or you don't feel comfortable, please get an adult to do this. It's not worth your fingers. And then what else do I have in here? So I have some additional blades for the craft knife. Any will do really. We're only really scoring around the edge of the rubber. And then I keep the instructions for how to do it, which I don't need, but I keep it there in case I ever lend this box to anyone. And then what we have is what they get sold. You get little rubber pads to use with this, so we'll tear one off and pop this onto the clip, and this will help us smear the glue onto the blade and onto the rubber. You get hundreds of these. I don't keep all of them with me. It's not necessary. I'm hardly likely to glue. How many have I got here? So I've got 6. Hardly likely to glue up 6 bats. So it's handy just having that here. So that covers the box of tricks there. And then last but not least, and you may not own one, it's not necessary to go out and purchase one, but I've got a hairdryer. Now I don't use this. Some might say, some cheeky person might say I don't have enough hair for a hairdryer, and that's possibly true. But this is very good for getting your glue to dry faster. Now we don't want to burn the glue, we just want to have it at a distance where we can feel some extra heat and some air that will help the glue to dry. And that's it really for what we need. So the next video will be me preparing the blade for sticking the rubbers on, and yeah, let's get to it. So we have our old blade. Now I was always told or taught that you don't peel the rubber off from the handle that way. You always peel it from side to side. I'm not sure entirely why that is. I think personally you just need to be careful of the grain of the blade. Make sure you don't pull too hard or too fast, so that you don't splinter the wood of the blade itself. I normally do varnish my blades. Maybe I'll make a video on that. But that should be water-based varnish, not an oil-based or any other based varnish. That's another point. The glue will be water-based because they banned VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds, I think they're called, because they didn't want to have children with respiratory problems. So again, make sure you buy a good glue that's nice and safe for your children and for yourself. So just going to peel this rubber off as slowly as we can. Make sure not to damage the blade underneath. And I'm going to save these rubbers so that I can make a bit more of a mosaic for my return board, which again I'll make a video on at some point. These are also very useful for if you have any older members of the family who struggle to open jars. I myself have honey jars and they're a real pain in the backside to open, but if you have something such as that, you can put it on top of a jar and grip and turn, and it's an amazing thing to be able to open jars with. So keep them, you never know when you'll need them. And then again with this one, I'll try and get it started just here, and this one's actually a bit more difficult than the last. The other thing we don't want to do is leave any glue residue, which this one is leaving, so we'll need to just prepare that. So I do have some sandpaper just in case, and you can always rub it with your finger to help you get the the glue residue off. Sorry. Well, nice and slowly wins the race. This one's a lot more difficult than the last. Right, okay. So, also don't put these glue sides down together. You'll never get them apart. So, this one has just a little bit of residue, so I'm going to rub this glue off and then I'll come right back. So, okay, so now we've got, we've cleaned our blade up. We don't press very hard with the sandpaper, it's just to get some of the sort of slight burrs perhaps around the edge where we might have caught the blade on the table, or I don't know, some people in an attack of anger, the floor perhaps. But as you can see, there's a few little chips, so it's just to clean those up a little bit, but not too hard. The key thing is to make sure that you don't have any small or large pieces of glue, little balls of glue that obviously, like the old Princess and the Pea, when you put something such as a small grain of rice or small grain of sand underneath a table tennis rubber, it can create a bit of a mountain, which it'll feel like a mountain when you hit the ball. The ball will either go down where you don't expect or go up, so we want that smooth. So now that that's smooth, let's put that to one side and let's open up our rubbers. So get this the right way around. Which way was which? My black rubber was this side. Okay, right. So let's open this. So let's be careful. It's later in the day. Also, I have my cup of coffee now. Always important. Right. Okay. Nothing quite like opening a brand new sheet of rubber and knowing that your serves and shots are going to be much better going forwards. Let's just clean our area up here. Now, one of the things which I did mention earlier in the video is that you will need a roller. Now, I use my rubber cleaner bottle. Anything which is effectively wide enough to roll the rubber down. Now, when I say roll the rubber down, we do not stretch the rubber. We don't do what some people do, which is to, and I've seen this happen, they fix it and then what they will do is they will, as if it's some sort of like piece of dough, they'll try and really stretch it out. We don't do that. That will just ruin the rubber and you'll get a terrible feeling rubber. So first and foremost, we're going to need our glue. So let's make sure that that's well mixed. And we will open up our rubber sheet. Now, we don't need the cardboard. There's no real instructions on that. If someone can read Japanese, which is what that is, I don't think it's... Oh, it is actually written in English as well. So small, I barely noticed. But there's no instructions on how to do it, hence the reason for me making this video. Now, this, because it's got this rather large bump in it, I'm not going to use it. It's just annoying me at the moment. So let's make sure our area is nice and clean. Now, make sure that you've got the writing at the bottom of the rubber, at the bottom here, and perhaps keep the sheet of protective film on there just to protect it for the moment. Now, what I wouldn't recommend is having your bat like this, where the handle is on the table. I would always suggest moving it back so that it's flat. This means that it's a nice stable surface. So we will need our sponge thingy and our little clip that you get with the glue pack when you buy a pack of glue. And what we're going to do is, I like to glue the rubber first, because I'll normally put maybe two layers of glue on. I might just put one on, I'm not sure. Well, let's have a look. So just make sure our nozzle is clean and we're not going to spread anything bad out. So no, that's fine. The good thing about this butterfly free jack is that if you do get it on your fingers or on such surface such as this, it's very easy to remove. Perhaps not so much on clothing, but anyway, let's get on with it. So what I like to do is start at the middle and work my way out. Now, this might seem like a lot, and maybe it is, but anything which we have in addition or too much of, we will put onto the blade. So what I like to do is I like to press really quite firm. I want to try and get that glue as deep into the fibres as I possibly can get it. And I'll work it outwards to the edges. Don't worry, I know at the moment we got large blobs of it at the end of every stroke. We're going to fix that. So just don't push very hard. We're not trying to you know, force this into the table. We're just working it in. So any of those air pockets in the sponge collect and fill with glue. That's what we want. So, and then once we've got that there, like so, we now need to effectively take it off. So I'm going to just lightly bring it back. Nice smooth strokes. And then again, we might do it in the opposite direction, any raised spots. So I'm looking for a consistent look and feel across the rubber. Now that seems okay, but I'm noticing there's a few sort of drier spots here. So again, just going to deposit some of the glue back down, and then I'm going to ensure that there's no dry spots on that rubber. It's more art this than anything else. Just going to make sure that we got a nice even coating, and that looks about okay. I think we're going to need 2 coats though. And with what's left on here for the moment, we're going to just slide that over. I'm going to put this down, and then we're going to deposit. Excuse me, I'm still suffering with that cold. And what we're going to do is work it in the same way before it all sort of dries, because it doesn't dry too fast, but it will start to get thicker and therefore a little harder to move. So once we've got that, again, we want to take off the excess. One direction, not the band, is probably what you're looking for. So that looks pretty good. I think I've got a hair there or something. No, must be something else. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Okay. Right. So now we need to get this to dry. So here's where all bald men will not have one of these. You do not need one of these, but they are handy, specifically for this job. So I'm going to go and plug this in. It'll take me a second. So we've got let me see, we've got very hot, medium hot and cool. I like to use hot, but you'll see the perhaps you'll see the distance that I actually use this. So I won't talk while this is on, but essentially I want to have this about 30-40 centimeters away from the rubber, So don't know if you can see that, but about there. And we just want to make sweeping motions until the glue is no longer milky looking. So that's dry, but like I said, I think I'm going to put another coat onto this rubber. So I'm just going to do that now, and be slightly less amount, but there we go. Let's just get this in. Once again, one direction. There we go. So you've just got to wait for that to dry again now, and we'll get it on the blade. Okay, so now when you're happy with your blade and your rubber being dry, so this has possibly taken me maybe 10 minutes, certainly no longer. I haven't overly dried it, so it is still a little bit wet in the middle, but it's good enough. So how are we going to do this? So what we need to do first of all is lift up our rubber and put that to one side for the moment, that protective sleeve. Now the key thing here is making sure you get your square part right in the middle so that you don't have it like that when you put it down. So you've got to have, there's usually enough overhanging, and you want the writing at the bottom. If you don't get the writing at the bottom, then an official will not let you play. So what I advise is put your fingers in the corners and hold it like this so that you've got full control, and then place it as near as you can to the centre, keeping the edges up. Now you won't be able to see, but I'm pressing where the butterfly logo is, and there's a little notch actually there which just denotes where the centre of the rubber is. So if you can position that roughly in the centre of where it is, then you won't go far wrong, hopefully. Now what we want to do here is pull the rubber back onto the roller and so we're going to roll this forward gently and let the rubber literally fall. So we're not stretching this at all. We're literally letting the rubber fall but keeping slight tension on it, and there it goes down. And once it's down, don't want to push too hard. Excuse me, I'm watching some table tennis on YouTube. I'll put that on pause. And what a good idea to do is to just go round the edge with the roller and just ensure that that is stuck around the edge. Now, hopefully, it should go on fairly smooth, not without any air bubbles or anything else. It's a little bit dusty, this table's a little bit dusty, but we'll give it a bit of a clean afterwards. But yeah, that looks fine. Although looking at it, it looks a bit skew-if to me, but yeah. Either way, I'm sure that is fine. Okay, So now as we've got that like that, I think it's been cut incorrectly, hasn't it, from the factory. So now as we have it like that, the next step is where we need to use this. So children and young adults, please don't use this. I don't want any complaints or anything of that nature. So you've been warned. Get an adult, and even adults. Be careful, because these things not only can kill, but yeah, they can be extremely painful. So I'm going to get my my board here, and I'm just going to try and clean up my area a little bit. So we don't need this for the moment, so put that away, put my phone away, and I'll put this onto the floor. And the hairdryer. And those two rubbers. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to like I say, we don't want it flopping all over the place. So make sure the handle comes off the edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the blade very carefully. We don't need to press very hard for this. You can take as many passes as you like, but what I would do is just run the knife gently around the edge until you're through the rubber. So the sponge first. Now, because of the way the sponge is, because it has bubbles in it, it does skip, and you'll hear it. It's not a very pleasant sound, but you can of course use scissors. They do make table tennis scissors, but the reason I use one of these is because I want a cleaner edge. So I don't want any weight around my blade. I do have a number of physical complications with my neck, which is why that my blade weighs very little. I think it weighs something like 75 or 70 grams, which is really light for a table tennis blade. But having two slip discs in my neck, that's the reason. So I'll come back to you when I've gone through this. It's going to take maybe 10 or 20 passes quite gently with the knife, and we'll show you the finished product. Okay, so that's done. So there we have it. That's the offcut, and there is our brand new rubber sheet with a really superior clean edge, which is what we want. So all we've got to do now is make sure that all the little bits which are on the edge, we just want to rub them off and make sure that they don't stick to our other side, which hasn't been glued yet, but like I said before, a bit like the Princess and the Pea, we don't want anything. We want a very smooth, clean surface to be able to attach our rubber to. So, but I'll come back to you when I have the red sheet applied, and then we'll give it a bit of a bounce test and see how it feels. They usually do feel a little bit odd when they're freshly glued. They do tend, as the glue dries, they do tend to sort of improve somewhat. So yeah, don't be too worried if yours feels a bit. If you follow the instructions properly, you've not stretched the rubber on, and you've used the right amount of glue, and you've obviously smoothed it out correctly, you should get a very, very smooth surface such as this. So that's what you're looking for. So I'll come back to you when the red rubber's attached. And there we go, I've just finished with the red side. So let's see, take that up, and we're just going to clean up some of the edges. And there we have it, a really nice clean edge cut bat, brand new, all glued in nice and correctly, and it should feel brilliant the next time we play. So let's go give it a bounce test. And there we go. nice clean edges. No umpire, no official is going to have any issues with that. Like I say, nice feeling. Always nice to get new equipment in your hand. It's expensive these days, so it is important to take your time. All in all, I'd probably say this took me maybe about an hour. It's something which I don't like to rush. It is important to get right. As I say, 2 sheets of rubber these days can easily cost you over £100. And if you do get it wrong, it's an expensive mistake. Again, if you like this video, you got something out of it, please remember to share it to your friends, table tennis colleagues, and make sure you like and subscribe. More videos to come. Hopefully this week we'll have some more basic strokes videos, so keep your eye out for those. Thanks again for watching. See you later.